Hey everybody, Boris last from BK Forex. Welcome to our daily Forex technicals for 7/10/13. Fresh lows for the euro. As always, trading Forex on margin carries high level of risk not suitable for all investors. I ask you to read this disclaimer very carefully, and you should be aware of all the associated with trading on margin and seek advice from a financial advisor if you have any doubts. Well, let's take a look at the euro dollar, the key story today in so many ways as we broke through the 28 to the downside, and came within a whisker of 2750. Look at this very deep engulfing red candle. Kind of a very negative structure in my opinion on the euro as we are just about near the um, near the yearly lows. Yearly lows I think come in around where 27. I thought they were like 27.45 actually. I thought they were even lower, and we came within a whisker here. Our low today was 27.56. So 27.50s go. We're clearly going to be targeting 27. But then I think the much more interesting question is this 27.50 is sort of like the final support zone for the euro, because if that begins to crumble, it really opens the way for a move all the way down to the 12500s. Fresh lows, very rapid acceleration to the downside, a lot of negative sentiment. And I think that's one of the more interesting aspects of the story. Yesterday we talked about the idea, by the way, of how the euro was clearly underperforming the Aussie, and I raised the issue of Euro Aussie as a possible short. That trade has been working very well. Of course, past performance not indicative of future results, but if you look at it today, I mean, look, we crumbled through the 40s. We took out the 41s, we crumbled through the 40s, and as I was saying yesterday, a break through the 40s really opens up a run all the way out to the 38 support zone here, which is where going to be the next support zone for the euro. And if you look at the structure of the euro Aussie, you basically have this lower highs, almost a triple top distribution, kind of a quasi head and shoulders distribution, whatever you want to call it. It's basically a rolling over top, which means we could have an even steeper acceleration to the downside, which in turn brings me to the Aussie, which definitely was the far stronger relative performer today. It did not quite make it to the 92s. It tested 92 several times. It came back off it. But if we get any kind of a bounce in high beta this week, certainly the Aussie is going to be the prime candidate to start running forward. The one thing that I think is very clear in the Aussie right now is that 90s seem to be a pretty serious support level. And unless we get a major shift in sentiment against the Aussie, 90 is going to be a lot harder to beat to the downside than it was even a couple of days ago as we're starting to form more serious support. You can also see this, by the way, in the Kiwi, which held the 77s, went through the 78.50s, kind of flamed out at 79s, but sort of still very much in a consolidation mode. And a break here of 79, 78.50s towards the 79s really opens up a possible recapture of the 80s if you're going to rebuild the whole calm dollar story to the upside. Even dollar CAD, which we talked about yesterday as 106 being a very stiff resistance, really gave way a little bit today, and you can see it started to filter through the 105.50s. Same kind of a, just as you see in Euro Aussie, this type of a congestion rolling over top. Perhaps not as definitive and not as strong to the downside. You definitely do see it in dollar CAD as well. The bottom line is, if you're trading high beta against, if you're trading basically G3 against calm dollars are definitely coming out the winners for the time being. The one thing that's kind of been quiet, dollar yen is really consolidating this 10150, 10150 level, and it seems like we're just basically waiting for tomorrow for the FOMC meeting to see if there's further hawkish sentiment. Also, well, there's actually two events. We got the FOMC meeting, then we have the BOJ meeting. The market needs another impetus to push ourselves a little higher. This 10150 certainly proving to be a little bit of a resistance for dollar bulls. If we can push through the 10150s, 102s, then a break of the 102.50s does open up the full on run towards the 103.50 and a test of the double top here. If we sort of fail here, it actually becomes a little bit negative because you're basically going to have a lower top and a consolidation back down to 100. 100 is the near-term deeper support here for dollar yen. 102.50 is the strong breakout point for challenge of the yearly highs. In the meantime, we're just consolidating, watching basically time go by. Cable found itself again supporting 4800s, but not as certainly not as strong as the calm dollars, although a little bit stronger than the euro. Still holding this double bottom, but I think if 48 gets given, we're back in the same kind of situation as we are in the euro, where 48 gives leads way to 45s, similar as in 27 gives leads way to 25s in the euro. One interesting side note on the crosses here is the flip in the euro pound. Euro pound looked very. Where's my euro pound here? Euro pound was very bid into the European morning, and look at this flame out. This is a very negative flame out. We filled the gap and then flame out to the downside. And at this point, certainly from a technical point of view, if you use this 86.65 or 86.70 as your resistance point, basically as your stop point, this looks more like a short than it does a long, and we could have possibly a pretty serious turn to the downside all the way back down to perhaps 8500s. That's the story of the weakness of the euro against cable. That's basically the story of the weakness of the euro. Lastly, what's interesting to me is that despite all this weakness in the euro, Euro Swiss, where's my Euro Swiss? Was actually acting very well and remains acting very well despite all this euro weakness. This cross broke out through the 23-24 handle congestion area and now is eyeing the 25 handle. A breakout of 25s really puts us straight up into the challenges of the yearly highs of the 26s. And for now, I think that's kind of one of the more interesting aspects of the euro crosses, that of all of them, Euro Swiss seems to be the strongest. So a lot of interesting ideas, a lot of interesting cross flows going on here. Tomorrow, obviously, FOMC could make or break the dollar as far as dollar yen goes, and perhaps even drive the euro further through that 27 handle that we talked about earlier in the session. So wishing you guys the best of luck and the best of trading. This is Boris Schlossberg for BK Forex over and out.